Your monthly salary is actually the bribe they pay you to forget your dreams and ignore the fact that you are trading the only non-renewable resource you own for a fixed price. In this video, we are stripping away the comfort of the 9 to 5 to reveal why relying on a paycheck is the most dangerous financial move you can make in the modern economy. Most people wake up every morning under a dangerous delusion. They believe that a steady paycheck equals safety. They think that as long as the money hits the bank account on the first of every month, they are winning the game of life. But here is the cold, hard truth. A salary is not wealth. It is a leash. It is a carefully calculated amount of money designed to keep you just comfortable enough so you don't quit, but never enough so you can actually buy back your freedom. When you agree to a salary, you are participating in the employee trap. This trap is built on a fundamental mathematical flaw. You are selling your time. The problem with selling time is that time is finite. You only have 24 hours in a day, and no matter how hard you work, no matter how many degrees you have, and no matter how much your boss likes you, you cannot manufacture more time. This creates a hard ceiling on your potential. If your income is tied to your physical presence and your hourly output, you are essentially a high-end battery being drained for someone else's profit. Think about the structure of a corporation. The owners and shareholders aren't there to trade their hours. They are there to own the systems that use your hours. While you are worried about your annual 3% raise, the cost of living is rising by 7%, meaning you are actually getting poorer while working harder. The trap is so subtle because it feels like progress. You get a slightly better car, a slightly bigger house, and a few more responsibilities, but the underlying mechanism remains the same. If you stop moving the gears, the money stops flowing. This part of the script is about waking up to the reality that the ladder you are climbing is leaned against the wrong wall. We need to understand that as long as your input equals your output, you are one missed paycheck away from a total collapse. It is time to look at the math of your life and realize that selling your life in 40-hour increments is a losing trade. The fundamental reason why the salary model fails to create true wealth is because it relies on a linear equation in a world that rewards exponential growth. In the world of finance, there is a massive difference between earned income and scalable wealth. When you are an employee, you are trapped in a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 hour of your life equals a specific, predetermined amount of dollars. Even if you are a highly paid doctor, a lawyer, or a senior executive, you are still operating within the confines of this linear trap. If you don't show up to the office, the billing stops. If you don't perform the surgery, the check doesn't clear. This is the golden handcuff phenomenon. You might have a nicer house and a faster car than the person working minimum wage, but you are both ultimately in the same boat. You are both renting out your human existence for a fee. The math simply does not add up for long-term freedom. Let's look at the numbers. If you work 40 hours a week for 40 years, you have roughly 80,000 hours of productive life to sell. Once those hours are gone, they are gone forever. You cannot buy them back. The tragedy of the employee trap is that most people spend the best, most energetic years of their lives selling these hours at a discount to someone who understands the multiplier effect. The business owner isn't selling their time, they are buying yours. They buy your hour for $50 and sell the product of that hour for $500. They pocket the $450 difference while you are left with just enough to pay your bills and return to work the next Monday. This cycle is designed to be self-perpetuating. By the time you realize that your time was worth more than the paycheck, you have often accumulated so many lifestyle debts, mortgages, car loans, and credit card balances that you can no longer afford to stop selling your time. You become a prisoner of your own overhead. To escape, you must first stop viewing your income as a reflection of your worth and start viewing it as a tool to buy assets that do not require your presence to grow. We must move away from the mindset of how much can I earn per hour and move toward how can I decouple my income from my time? Because as long as those two are linked, you will never be truly free. Beyond the math of hours and dollars, there is a much more sinister side to the employee trap, the erosion of your unique potential. When you work for a salary, your primary objective is to fulfill a job description that someone else wrote. This means your growth is restricted by the boundaries of that role. You are a cog in a machine, and the machine only needs you to perform a specific function. Over time, this leads to what experts call skill atrophy. Because you are incentivized to be efficient at your current tasks rather than innovative or daring, your brain begins to prioritize safety over growth. The paycheck becomes a sedative. It numbs the natural human urge to create, to take risks, and to build something of one's own. Every year you spend purely selling your time is a year you aren't investing in your own value stack. In the corporate world, you are often rewarded for compliance, not for the kind of radical thinking that actually creates generational wealth. Furthermore, the employee trap creates a psychological dependency that is incredibly hard to break. This is known as the comfort zone paradox. The more successful you become as an employee, the more you have to lose. Your lifestyle expands to meet your salary, creating a situation where you are functionally broke at a higher level. This is the high-income poverty trap. You earn six figures, but after the expensive lease, the private school fees, and the country club membership, you have nothing left to invest. You are running faster and faster on a treadmill that is bolted to the floor. You feel like you are moving forward because the scenery of your life is getting more expensive, but your actual net worth and your level of freedom remain stagnant. You are essentially a high-performance athlete who is playing the wrong game. While you are trying to win the best employee trophy, the owners of the game are changing the rules to ensure the house always wins. If your wealth depends on a boss's signature or a company's quarterly performance, you are not wealthy. You are just a well-managed liability. To break the trap, you must realize that your greatest asset isn't your labor. It is your ability to create systems that function without you. The most expensive thing you will ever own is the life you didn't live because you were too busy working for a paycheck. We often talk about the risks of entrepreneurship or investing, but we rarely discuss the massive, silent risk of the traditional career path. This is the risk of the zero-sum life. In the employee trap, every hour you give to your employer is an hour stolen from your own legacy, your family, and your personal ventures. If you spend 10 hours a day building someone else's dream, you are essentially paying for their freedom with the currency of your own life. This is the ultimate opportunity cost. While you are sitting in meetings discussing quarterly reports, the market is moving, technology is evolving, and windows of opportunity are slamming shut. The safety of a job is actually a volatility dampener that hides the truth. You are becoming obsolete while feeling secure. Think about the concept of leverage. In the modern world, wealth is built through four types of leverage: labor, capital, code, and media. As an employee, you are the labor leverage for someone else. You are the fuel being burned to power their engine. If you want to escape, you have to start using the other three. But you can't do that if your mental energy is completely drained by a 9 to 5. The trap is designed to keep you tired. A tired person doesn't start a business. A tired person watches Netflix and orders takeout. This exhaustion is a feature of the system, not a bug. It ensures that you remain a consumer rather than a producer. By the time you reach the weekend, you are so desperate to relax that you spend the little money you earned on temporary escapes, which further binds you to the job to pay for those escapes. It is a closed-loop system of mediocrity. You must break this cycle by reclaiming your mental equity. You have to stop giving your best ideas to a company that would replace you within a week if you drop dead. You need to start treating your time as a venture capitalist would. Stop investing it in low-yield activities like busy work and start diversifying into projects that have an asymmetrical upside. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, or while you are at the park with your kids, you will work until the day you die. For decades, we have been sold the corporate ladder as the ultimate symbol of success. We are told that if we work hard, stay loyal, and climb high enough, we will eventually reach the top, where the view is better and the air is clearer. But here is the secret the elites don't want you to know. The ladder is a treadmill in disguise. No matter how high you climb, you are still inside the same building owned by someone else. Even the CEO of a major company is often just a high-level employee who can be fired by a board of directors. The higher you go, the more contingent your life becomes. You gain more responsibility, more stress, and more hours, but your fundamental relationship with time hasn't changed. You are still trading your presence for a paycheck, just with more zeros at the end. This is what we call the sophisticated trap. It is designed for the brightest minds to ensure they never look sideways at the exits. When you focus on the ladder, you ignore the fact that the entire structure is designed to benefit the owners of the ladder, not the climbers. Think about your taxes. In almost every country, earned income, the kind you get from a job, is taxed at the highest rate. Meanwhile, capital gains and business income, the kind the wealthy generate, are taxed at significantly lower rates. The system is literally incentivized to punish those who sell their time and reward those who own assets. If you are working for a salary, you are playing the game on hard mode with a massive handicap. You are paying the government first, your landlord second, and yourself last. By the time you get your cut, there is barely enough left to seed a real future. To truly escape, you must stop trying to climb someone else's ladder and start building your own foundation. You need to shift your focus from vertical mobility, getting a promotion, to horizontal ownership, owning multiple streams of income. Ownership is the only thing that survives a market crash, a corporate downsizing, or a global pandemic. When you own the asset, you own the time. When you are just a rung on the ladder, you are expendable. The most dangerous part of the employee trap isn't the lack of money. It is the abundance of just enough. This is the psychology of managed poverty. When you have no money, you are forced to be resourceful and hungry. But when you have a steady salary that covers your basic needs and a few luxuries, you enter a state of golden stagnation. You aren't hurting enough to change, but you aren't thriving enough to be free. This state of being comfortable is the greatest enemy of greatness. The system is designed to keep you in this middle ground because a middle-class employee with a mortgage is the most compliant worker in the world. You are too afraid to speak up, too tired to innovate, and too invested in your current lifestyle to take the leap into ownership. This is how the time for money exchange becomes a permanent prison. You must understand that your employer's goal is to maximize your output while minimizing your cost. Your goal, however, should be the exact opposite, to maximize your freedom while minimizing your reliance on any single entity. When these goals are in conflict, the one with the most leverage wins. In the current setup, the employer has all the leverage because they own the system of production. They can replace you, but you feel like you can't replace the income. This fear is a weapon used to keep you in line. To reclaim your power, you have to start thinking like a sovereign individual. A sovereign individual doesn't look for a job. They look for problems to solve and systems to build. They realize that the only true security comes from having skills that the market values and assets that the market pays for, regardless of who is in charge. If you are waiting for a performance review to tell you what you are worth, you have already lost. You must decide your own value by creating something that exists outside of a corporate spreadsheet. Breaking the trap requires a total mental shift. You are not an employee who happens to have a life. You are a business owner whose current primary client is your employer. Once you see yourself as a business, you start looking for ways to diversify your client base so that no single boss can ever fire your future. One of the most effective ways the employee trap keeps its grip on you is through the benefits package. Health insurance, dental plans, retirement matching, and paid time off are often framed as gifts from a benevolent employer. In reality, these are the golden crumbs designed to make the cage feel more like a home. These benefits create a psychological barrier to exit that is incredibly difficult to overcome. We call this the insurance anchor. Many people stay in jobs they despise, working for people they don't respect, simply because they are terrified of losing their health care or their 401k match. The system has successfully outsourced your sense of survival to a human resources department. By doing this, they have effectively bought your silence and your compliance. You aren't just selling your hours. You are selling your autonomy in exchange for a false sense of safety. But let's analyze the security of these benefits. If your health and your future retirement are tied to a company, what happens when that company goes under? What happens when a new AI technology makes your entire department redundant? Your security is a house of cards built on someone else's property. True security doesn't come from a corporate policy. It comes from self-reliance. It comes from having enough capital and enough diverse income streams that a layoff is merely a footnote in your life, not a catastrophe. The trap is designed to make you feel fragile without the corporation. They want you to believe that you cannot handle the complexities of the world on your own. This dependency is the ultimate goal of the employee trap. It creates a workforce that is technically proficient but emotionally paralyzed. To break free, you must realize that the cost of these benefits is actually much higher than their market value. The real price you pay is the inability to take risks. When you are anchored by the fear of losing a dental plan, you will never sail toward the horizon of true wealth. You must start building your own safety net, one that moves with you, grows with you, and belongs to you. Only when you own your own benefits are you truly a free agent in the economy. The most invisible wall of the employee trap is the inflation tax. Even if you are a star employee who receives a consistent 3% or 5% annual raise, you are likely still losing the game. This is because the currency you are being paid in is designed to lose value over time. While your salary remains relatively fixed or grows at a snail's pace, the cost of the things that actually matter, housing, quality food, education, and energy, is accelerating at a much faster rate. In the employee trap, you are essentially running up a down escalator. You are working harder and putting in more hours just to maintain the same standard of living you had last year. This is the devaluation trap. When you sell your time for a fixed amount of currency, you are trading a hard asset, your life, for a soft asset, fiat money, that the government and banks are printing into oblivion. Wealthy individuals understand this, which is why they don't hold their wealth in cash or salaries. They hold it in equity. Equity in businesses, real estate, and intellectual property grows with inflation. In fact, inflation often helps the owners of assets while it absolutely crushes the sellers of time. When the price of everything goes up, the business owner raises their prices and the property owner raises the rent. But the employee? The employee has to wait for a budget cycle or a performance review to ask for a crumb of that increase. This delay is where your wealth is stolen. You are essentially providing a low-interest loan of your life energy to your employer. By the time you receive your pay, its purchasing power has already diminished. To escape this, you must stop thinking of your salary as the end goal and start seeing it as a conversion mechanism. You must convert your depreciating salary into appreciating assets as fast as humanly possible. If you save your salary in a bank account, you are literally watching your freedom evaporate. You have to move from the consumer class, which buys things that lose value, to the investor class, which buys things that capture the value of the entire economy. You cannot save your way out of the employee trap. You have to invest your way out. The ultimate escape from the employee trap requires a fundamental shift in how you view the value exchange. In the 9-to-5 world, your value is judged by your input, how many hours you sat at your desk, how many emails you sent, and how many meetings you attended. But the market doesn't actually care about your input. It only cares about results. The wealthy understand that if you can deliver a result that works while you are sleeping, you have achieved the holy grail of finance, scalability. To break the trap, you must find a way to decouple your income from your physical presence. This is the difference between a job and a system. A job requires you to be there to move the gears. A system is a machine you build once that moves the gears for you. This is where most people get stuck because they are taught to be operators rather than architects. An operator is a pilot. If the pilot leaves the cockpit, the plane eventually crashes. An architect is the person who designs the self-driving software. You need to stop being the pilot of your income and start being the architect of your wealth. This means looking for asymmetrical opportunities, ventures where the work you do once can be sold 1,000 times. Think about a writer, a programmer, or an investor. A writer writes a book once, the input, but it can sell for decades, the output. An investor puts capital into a business once, and that business generates profits every quarter without the investor ever stepping into the office. This is passive leverage. The employee trap is designed to keep you so busy with active labor that you never have the time or mental clarity to build these passive systems. You are kept in a state of constant maintenance mode. You are maintaining your life, maintaining your job, and maintaining your status, but you are not building a legacy. To exit, you must ruthlessly audit your time. You must carve out blocks of deep work to build assets, whether that is a side business, a digital product, or a portfolio that will eventually replace your salary. The goal isn't to work less. The goal is to work on things that stack. Each hour you spend on your own system adds to the previous hour, creating a snowball effect that eventually leads to total financial sovereignty. The final and most difficult step in escaping the employee trap is the transition from security to freedom. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect time to stop selling their time. They wait for the kids to grow up, the mortgage to be paid, or the economy to stabilize. But the truth is, the system will never give you a green light to leave. The trap is designed to be a lifetime commitment. To break free, you must make a conscious, often terrifying decision to stop valuing the certainty of a paycheck more than the possibility of your own potential. This is the moment where you stop being a passenger in your financial life and become the driver. True freedom is not about having $1 million in the bank. It is about owning 100% of your time and having the ability to say no to anything that doesn't align with your purpose. Your strategy from this moment forward must be aggressive diversification. You should treat your current salary as a venture capital fund for your future self. Every dollar you earn from your job should be treated as a soldier you are sending out to the battlefield to capture more territory. Stop buying liabilities that look like wealth, the flashy watches, the brand new SUVs, and the luxury subscriptions, and start buying cash flow. Once your passive income from your assets covers your basic living expenses, you are officially post-economic. You are no longer an employee, you are a free agent. You can still work, but you work because you choose to, not because you have to. This shift changes everything. Your creativity explodes because you are no longer operating from a place of fear. You become more valuable to the world because you are building out of passion rather than desperation. The journey out of the employee trap is not easy, and it is not fast, but it is the only journey worth taking. Remember, the greatest risk is not starting a business or investing in the market. The greatest risk is spending 40 years of your life helping someone else achieve their dreams while you sit on a shelf gathering dust. It is time to stop selling your life by the hour. It is time to start owning the clock.